Today we'll be discussing the topic of engaged Buddhism among celebrities. So this topic will be presented to you by myself, Sarthak Kapoor, Daniel Kellums, and Michael Roddy. So what does engaged Buddhism even mean? So online and through our research, we found many different definitions of Buddhism. All these definitions seem to have the same general idea, but tend to vary on a basis of a few small details. Essentially, our interpretation and understanding of engaged Buddhism that it's a practice that has evolved from the original forms of Buddhism that existed in early India. So, for example, something like Mahayana, and it has basically become more rationalable and more applicable. So, for example, now Buddhist practices. Now Buddhists tend to explore like how can I use my learnings from Buddhism and meditation to actually apply it to my own real life in terms of something in terms of a social aspect, into political decisions, into economic decisions, and even into what I believe in environmentally and what personal causes I want to support, right? And this whole concept of engaged Buddhism has been very romanticized over the past couple decades. This has largely been one due to the fact that this is a way more applicable form of Buddhism, so it naturally is more appealing for people as they're able to see the results more directly, and two, because of the wider adoption due to celebrities.
Many big names in Hollywood are all practicing Buddhist and or grew up Buddhist. Brad and Angelina Jolie are one of the most famous couples who are practicing Buddhism, and they raised all their children Buddhist, and Angelina converted Brad to Buddhism. Sharon Stone didn't like the way Hollywood sexualized and treated women and felt practicing Buddhism would help her deal with these struggles. Uma Thurman's dad is actually a very famous Buddhist scholar, and she is a practicing Buddhist. Tiger Woods grew up Buddhist, kind of lost his practices, but then after the 2009 scandals decided to recenter himself by finding it. Sarah Jessica Parker, who grew up Jewish, decided to convert to Buddhism at a later age because of her beliefs and just the way Buddhism works. She just felt it was better for her personally. And many other big names such as Tina Turner, Sting, George Lucas, who both practices being a Methodist and a Buddhist, and Jackie Chan, who also grew up Buddhist, all are very well-known people. Many of these famous people who practice Buddhism do big acts of charity, such as Brad and Angelina adopting so many kids and donating all the time. They get guidance towards major life decisions, such as Tina Turner. She felt it was a turning point in her career. Many even incorporated into business decisions. Some are more private about their practice, like Jim Carrey, who kind of disappeared for a while, while some are more public, like Angelina, who tries to convert people and has many tattoos showing her pride for Buddhism. And many have converted from Christianity or are still practicing both, like George Lucas.
So let's take a deeper dive into some of these famous Buddhist figures and explore, why they became Buddhist and, what this has kind of led them to. So the most famous ones are probably Brad and Angelina Jolie. So Angelina Jolie was originally a Buddhist. Was originally the person who was Buddhist. She became Buddhist at a young age. This largely happened due to the fact that she was already a very spiritual person and loved studying other religions and so forth. It is interesting that she came from a very Catholic background. So this transition is pretty interesting. And she very widely believes that people should be accepting of different religions. We should be taking teachings from different religions, and is a very big advocate for Buddhist studies and Buddhist scholarism, right? And she actually says like one of the biggest reasons that she ended up with Brad Pitt and the reason that they even got together as a couple was because Brad Pitt was also so open about studying new religions. He even began studying Buddhism specifically when he started dating Angelina Jolie, even though he was a devout Christian. And, eventually Angelina ended up converting Brad Pitt as Brad Pitt saw major improvements in his life, having adopted the Buddhist framework. And, due to this, they, as Daniel mentioned, they've done many acts of charity through their organization, for Buddhist causes and in Buddhist countries such as Cambodia. They've adopted kids and they've raised them all Buddhist. They've also adopted kids largely from Buddhist countries. And something interesting is her yantra tattooing. So Angelina Jolie is known for having many tattoos, but half of them have some sort of Buddhist significance. So a lot of the times it'd be mantras that'd be written on her hands, and her entire back tattoo is actually very Buddhist in nature. But overall, she says that this, her Buddhist framework and her Buddhist beliefs and her teachings have largely guided her through her career, made the decisions that she's made. She says that she wouldn't have starred in many of the famous movies that she did if she wasn't Buddhist, and it was actually a Buddhist faith that led her to pursue the projects that she did.
So another famous celebrity who practices Buddhism is Jim Carrey. And as many of you know, he went off the grid a while back, and everybody was concerned of where he went and what he was doing. And then finally came back and justified everything he did and his entire career through his Buddhist beliefs. And before I talk about it more, I'm going to share a quick video that depicts Jim Carrey in an interview, basically talking about what he believes and the situation around him.
I wanted to find the most meaningless thing that I could come to and join, and here I am. I mean, you got to admit it's completely meaningless.
Well, they say they're celebrating icons inside.
Celebrating icons, boy, that is just the absolute lowest aiming, possibility that we could come up with. It's like icons. Do you believe in icons? I don't believe in personalities. I don't believe that you exist, but there is a wonderful fragrance in the air.
You don't believe certain icons have the power to make change, to think differently, to be bold, to inspire others? Artistry? You're one of them.
On the good foot. Ha! Yeah. You shut it down now. Yeah, no, I don't believe in icons. I don't believe in personalities. I believe that peace lies beyond personality, beyond invention and disguise, beyond the red S that you wear on your chest that makes bullets bounce off. I believe that it's deeper than that. I believe we're a field of energy dancing for itself. And I don't care.
The gem you got.
So basically what me and my partners have come up with through this video, we think that he had an awakening experience before he came out of his hiding, and he's now going through the stages of reorienting his worldview and integrating his insights into his daily life, as we can see and hear from in the interview. He basically went to this event and, kind of talked everything down, like everything was meaningless, nothing matters and things like that. But it isn't completely negative if you think about it from a Buddhist perspective. It's a tricky process, and there can be lots of attachment to the awakening process. And in the video, it seems his experience is genuine, but it's not enlightenment as we've been taught in class. It looks like it's just the initial awakening, and we don't know how far down that path of enlightenment Jim Carrey is. We just don't know that. So the next celebrity we will be talking about is Tiger Woods. He is a very popular golfer, probably the most accoladed golfer of all time. Well, he's not the most accoladed golfer of all time, but he's the most well-known golfer of all time and probably the best of all time. And Tiger Woods' mother was a Thai Buddhist, and she showed him the ways of Buddhism. And there's been a lot of interviews in the past where Woods has credited his mother and the teachings of Buddhism to help him in his golf game, to help him focus, and how he got to win all the majors he's won in his career. He's also said that Buddhism has given him focus outside of his golf game and throughout his life. For example, you may know that he had a huge cheating scandal in 2009. And not many people know this, but he actually used the Buddhist faith he was taught to help him with his infidelity. He learned that, there's more to life than women, than sex, and He found happiness within himself. So Woods was raised as a Buddhist by his mother, and it profoundly affected his childhood, as we can see in the interviews. And also in another interview, Woods reported to CBS News that he believes in Buddhism, not every aspect, but most of it. So he takes bits and pieces, and he doesn't believe that human beings can achieve ultimate enlightenment because humans have flaws. And also in 2008, he revealed to Reuters and the Sunday Times that he practiced meditation and had attended a temple with his mother. And in another interview, he said, quote, "In the Buddhist religion, you have to work for it for yourself internally in order to achieve anything in life and set up the next life." So as we can see, Woods really devotes, most of his time, his off time, and his entire childhood was devoted to these Buddhist teachings. And he has actually credited the religion for keeping his laser-like focus in golf. So it has affected his life one way or the other.
Right. So overall, through our studies, we have realized many different celebrities were Buddhists, are becoming Buddhists, but overall, celebrities are turning to Buddhism at a very rapid pace, and this is extending beyond to the general population also. As we saw, these actors, these sports icons, these celebrities, they tend to live very stressful lives. They have, very many decisions that they have to make, and usually, these decisions, they don't have experience for that, right? So they have more and more start to rely on their faith to handle these situations and these decisions better. And overall, it seems that celebrities are using Buddhism to provide them a general framework for living and is overall improving their outlook on life. So thank you so much for listening to our presentation. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned about how celebrities are embracing the concept of engaged Buddhism.
And we're excited. Thank you very much.